What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MicroStrategy today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, everybody. So we are going to have a massive dump starting tomorrow. Absolutely, no doubt. Unless Bitcoin pulls a magic rabbit out of its ass, I don't see how this is going to do anything but move down, right? I'm sure you're all aware, unless you're not, that's fine, you know, if you're not. But again, the point of this video is to do a game plan for the coming week. It's not a panic week, my friends. This is a week to get excited about, right? If you've been in the markets for more than just one cycle, you know that moments like this are very exciting. You get the most excited. Man, I'm amped up. I feel alive right now. I'm ready. We're looking at the Bitcoin chart for right now, but that's because MicroStrategy's closed, right? It hasn't moved yet, so we're going to use Bitcoin to assume what this may do tomorrow. Okay, so first and foremost, actually, MicroStrategy on Friday closes at 334. Bitcoin on that same day on Friday, let's go here, probably whenever the stock market closed, that would have been here. Would it have been here? It would have been, no, it wouldn't have been at that low, would it? Maybe Bitcoin, I forget, what was Bitcoin at 102K? It was probably around here by the end of the stock market's close. Let's look. I want to look at the 1 hour. Let's just look at the 1 hour. I want to change this back to white. It stands out more. What's that 1 hour there? 18. So if it's 5 o'clock, so 18, 19, 20, that's 6, 5 o'clock. That would make it 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. So Bitcoin was here. It was here by the time MicroStrategy closed off. I know that might have been confusing, but I was just doing some math in my head. Essentially, Bitcoin, when MicroStrategy closed on Friday at 334, Bitcoin was at about 101 to 102,000. Okay, so somewhere in that range. Since then, let's just assume it's dropped the most that it possibly could. Let's just put it at the high there, and it's at this price now. You're down about 8%. Now, we know that MicroStrategy versus Bitcoin it almost acts a bit levered, doesn't it? It acts like it's a little leveraged. If Bitcoin moves down 8%, what I mean by that is likely MicroStrategy to the same degree would move down more, right? Maybe it doesn't move down 16%, maybe it moves down more than 16%. I don't know. Does it move down twice as much? Does it move down more? There's no really good way to guess that, I suppose. If it were to double its move down, you might see a lower low than this low here. If it were to, instead of do an 8% move, if we saw a 12% move down, that would be a higher low. So anything's possible, I suppose. If we take a relative low here and a relative high and assume that we are going lower, I mean, man, it's very possible we could go to the 0.5. It is very possible MicroStrategy could go all the way down to $236, something at that kind of area. And wouldn't that be, oh man, that would be max pain, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Oh my goodness. It's been in front of our face the whole time, man. And I didn't think it was possible because I really thought Bitcoin was going to move up. I want to say this first and foremost for all the yahoos out there who might think about being like, haha, you were wrong. Did anybody expect this to happen? I guarantee you, I keep up with everything, man, in crypto. Nobody was calling for this move, right? The only people that were calling for this move down were the people that were calling for it on this day over here, and they shut the hell up whenever we were up here. So nobody was calling for this move down. They were calling for it here, and then we moved up. So even if you were calling for it here, yeah, sure, inevitably you were right, but you're only right if you called for it here and you called for it here. If you called for it here and you stopped talking about it or you relinquished your calls there, you're not right? Everybody, I'm just trying to say everybody was thrown off, was caught off guard on this. Okay, so if anybody wants to make fun of me for not making the right calls, okay, man, I'm going to be wrong at times. I'm not going to be right all the time. It's impossible to be right all the time. It's very possible to be wrong a good bit of the time too, though. I've been wrong plenty of times. I will be wrong again. I've been right plenty of times. I will be right again. But at the moment, what I've noticed about crypto, beyond my own stuff and beyond your own stuff, who cares, man? The 0.5 in crypto has been a very big support and resistance area across the board that I've noticed. So what I'm thinking is at the lowest we could go to about 235. If we look at MicroStrategy, what I was doing here with the screen of retina burning, if we look at max pain is at 310 for February 7th, 310. So maybe we don't go down there. I thought it was 230, wasn't it? Was it maybe? Let me look at this one here. Let's look at this one. No, it's 310. Maybe some more puts got put on. More puts must have gotten put on at the end of last week. That must have been happening because I swear max pain was at like 230 or 240 or something like that. So it went up. That's good. I guess it's actually good. What's open interest looking like? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of puts that got put on there. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Let's look at this thing. What are we doing on What date do we want? Here we go. Because mine expire on the 28th. So let's see, what do we got here? It's a pretty neutral put-call ratio, but there are more calls than there are puts. So at the moment, there are more people bullishly leaning in MicroStrategy than bearishly leaning. Normally, not always, but when the puts outweigh the calls, you move up. When the calls outweigh the puts, you move down. And while there were more puts that got put in at the end of last week, I still think we have more calls than puts. So what's going to happen is we're going to have to clean out some of those leverage positions. And I think maybe not a move down. We were just looking at the max pain. It says 310. So maybe not all the way down to 230 like I was thinking, but 310. You know, if we move down to 287, that'll be below max pain. That'll cause max pain for all the people in the in their call options. That'll actually generate some profits for puts, and that might gear people to add more to the puts, which would raise the bar for max pain to the upside. Okay, which again inevitably would cause the price or give reason for the price to go up. Just because max pain is high or low doesn't mean that you have to go there. But it is something to kind of be aware of, right? A good bit of the time. Something besides all of that stuff, beyond things that I'm not the most well versed in, which is this stuff. The charts I'm much more well versed in. What I know specifically is when you find support on the 382 and then you reject the 236 like this, if you go below the 382, there's a strong chance that you go all the way down to the 618. And that's not my call. That's just what I'm saying from what I know about fibs. I'm not calling for a $200 price. I think that'd be ridiculous, but it can happen. It could happen. It definitely could happen. We could drop all the way down to about 193 golden ratio, bounce off from there, man. I don't think that it would take all of February for that to happen. In fact, I think that would be a very dramatic move down if it were to happen. But to see something like that, like what are we at here? Current price. To see something like that, that's about a 42% drop. Bitcoin, I would assume, would have to drop. And if we're doing this from Friday's price, it would have to drop at least 20% overall, I would think, at least, right? I don't think Bitcoin's going down to 82K, you guys. I just don't see it happening. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see it. I think 85K is the worst case scenario. Likely we don't even break below 90K, but we could. It's possible. But something like that, you know, that might generate about a 12 to a 15% drop, which would generate, what, a 24 to a 30% drop if we're going to double it, which I think that's more than appropriate. 24. So yeah, 235. 235 might be the worst case scenario. I suppose 193 would be the worst case scenario, but even if that happened, the only people that are going to be in jeopardy are the people like me who have call options open for the end of February. But my expectation is still firmly that February will be a green month. We will close the month green. It will be positive. Maybe we're not all the way at $1,000 like I was thinking, but we're probably going to be on our way there, right? It's starting to look more and more, especially with this kind of movement. It depends on how fast we recover, but it is starting to look like instead of the end of February, it might be the middle of March that we're at $1,000. And I know everybody likes to shit on me because I've been making the same calls for $1,000 over the past like month and a half now. But the thing is, man, the price has been moving in the same place, right? It makes sense. If I'm making the same call here, where all we've done is move sideways, the only thing that's going to change is the time frame. If you have a problem with that, if you can't accept that, if you don't understand why that is, I don't know what to tell you, man. I can't imagine how frantic you must be whenever things don't go according to plan. Me, in this moment, I'm just chilling. I'm fine, right? We're going to go down even. Things are going not according to plan, and I'm chilling. It's fine. Time to buy. Definitely time to buy at these levels. Time to add on to the stack. Definitely not a time to sell, but I do anticipate MicroStrategy to some degree will have a pretty significant drop tomorrow. It could take it down. You're at 334, probably drops to 310 or lower, and I suspect that you either do go back to this low or you go slightly below it, right? The lowest I'd give you, my expectation is 235. I suspect we're going to find our low this coming week, and I don't know if the week will close green, but I suspect we find our low, and then going into the rest of the month, we'll probably build out back to all-time highs, and then going into new all-time highs. I would suspect that still we could be at new all-time highs by the end of the month for February, and $1,000 and beyond are targets that I expect for March, okay? Middle of March at the moment. We'll see. That could change too. It could go back to the end of February if we recover fast enough, man. I don't know if by the end of this week we actually do close green, then hey, yeah, maybe by the end of February we are at $1,000. But at the moment I'm going to keep it to, I think it's going to be mid-March that we hit 1,000. And if we just keep moving sideways, man, that date will keep getting pushed back as long as it needs to, right? It's like this. I'm thinking about it like this, right? If I called for $543. And I was saying, we're going to move up to $543 right now. And it didn't happen. And then months go by, and I'm still calling for it month after month after month, and it happens. Like, am I wrong? Kind of. Am I right? Kind of, right? Is it worth it to make that call over and over again so that once you hit the lows, once you sell off from your highs, you might panic and think that there's no chance that we're going up again? As long as I keep reinforcing the idea that we are going up to reassure people that there's nothing to worry about, inevitably we're going to get there. And I don't care if I'm wrong, man. I really don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care if the trolls or the jackals want to come out of their caves and laugh at me. They can, right? We're going to make money. We're all going to make money. It's not a problem. It's just going to take more time. And again, the only people that would have a problem with that are probably the people who are over leveraged or in some short-term time frame call options. Like myself, I've got some that expire at the end of February, but the call options that I have, the strike price is not it's basically right where we're at now, actually, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. But I got nothing else, man. I'm just talking about myself right now. I think you guys understand where I think the price is going to go, both over the coming days, probably tomorrow, and then over just through this week. I suspect that we find our low probably between Monday and Wednesday, and then we finish the week Thursday, Friday, moving up. I don't know if the week will close green. I'm not suspecting that, but certainly suspecting that as we continue through February, things will continue to grow. I do not suspect that this move down for Bitcoin and for crypto will persist for too much longer, but I do suspect that the stock markets as a whole will drop tomorrow in anticipation of this negatively received trade war news, tariff war news with the Trump administration and China and Canada and Mexico, right? Or they'll come to some kind of conclusion before the stock market opens, which I don't see happening, right? I personally don't see that happening, but so likely the whole markets will drop tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, guys, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves.